Welcome back to part 2 of my Autorect or Random Teams Only challenge for Go Battle League Season 8, where I will be trying to just go in with completely random teams and get to rank 20, and who knows, maybe beyond that. The rules are listed here, and I went over them in more detail in the first video, which will be linked in the description. And I will pin all of the matchups with timestamps in the comments, so if you see any Pokemons in particular where you're like, man, I've never seen this before, let's see how that does in Great League, feel free to take a look. And I'm dividing the battles for today into 2 parts. I would say the latter half, which I will be posting tomorrow, were definitely the most insane battles. So if you're interested in those and just seeing like completely random teams just wreck their way through the Great League, have a look at that tomorrow. Subscribe, comment, like, all that stuff if you don't mind and if you feel like it. I love doing stuff like this, so if this has any interest to you, you might want to stick around. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the battles. So, first up, we have Empoleon, Ampharos, and Liviani. Liviani definitely being the most spicy pick here. I didn't even know I had an Ampharos, to be honest, and doesn't do me any favors. So we immediately see an Azumarill, so I know that I have to preserve Liviani. Or at least, you know, that's the one I want to feature. So I make a mistake here, I would say, because Roserade is very frail. You can see it's half health due to Bug Bite. So realistically, I should just have gone Leaf Blade there, just to have more energy for the next matchup. Seeing as everything else, because I wanted to avoid the Weather Balls, have bad matchups, I'm putting in Ampharos here. And here I'm thinking like, hey, I'll farm down, which obviously I am not doing. I should just have Dragon Pulse, as bad as that would feel. You can see I would already be like almost at 2 Leaf Blades here. And Emolga is fairly frail, but again, I throw the Silver Wind, which I'm probably going to have to replace with Leaf Storm, and it costs Liviani its life. We could probably almost have killed Emolga, even though it's resisted. I'm not quite sure if there was any win con here, but either way, that didn't go too well. So, next battle, we have Swalot, which is the main feature, and it's overall not a great team. We'll just play. So we have Omastar on the lead, and we have a Plusle without... I don't think it has Spark, and I don't have a double moved one. So it's a pretty bad team all around. And we see an Umbreon, so great start. That's pretty meta. I'm basically just thinking like Plusle might have a good matchup, but whatever. It's cannon fodder now. I just want to dump some energy off of this because I'm thinking then maybe we'll have some play. And in comes an Alolan Executor, which is another spice pick for sure. I am, however, thinking that, you know, in the context of my team, it's really not that great because I have a freaking Omastar. So I just want to take this thing out. And this could be a Dragon Pulse. So definitely shielding that first one. And here, again, I make what I would say a pretty big mistake. Because it's a Seed Bomb. We heavily resist it. Let it go through, I'm thinking. And, well, you'll see momentarily. We outpace this. We're almost dead though, but we outpace the Sylveon, and we almost take it out with a Sludge Bomb. And Omastar comes in here and finishes off the job. So it looks like we're in a kind of decent position when you compare like the strength of our team to theirs. Omastar doesn't quite have enough firepower with something like Ancient Power to take out an Umbreon though. And here I'm thinking like, yeah, we'll save the shield just in case he's out of foul play. I don't know if you picked up on it, but I was 2 moves away from a Sludge Bomb. So if I've shielded that Seed Bomb earlier that barely did any damage, we would have won that game with Swallowed almost sweeping their team. But, live and learn. So, game number 3, I would say is mostly a Melmetal game. We actually have a team that looks pretty good. Cherrim's okay. Melmetal has some decent matchups, and Vigoroth is generally just pretty good. And then we see a Talonflame. So, if Vigoroth doesn't handle this, we probably lose the game. Because you don't want to see that, especially not boosted with either of the other two. So basically here we just try to throw 2 counters on each Incinerate, so we can exactly get as much energy as possible before the Incinerate damage hits Vigoroth. So here we still pray that he actually lets one go through, because if he shielded this, I'm pretty sure he would hit Vigoroth and take it out. And if that was to happen, I think that it would just instantly take half the health off whatever comes in. But anyway, we saw he had an A9 and then he has an Acheron. So I don't want to drop my stats yet. So I start out with the Thunderbolt, even though one could argue you're wasting some energy. And then I figured, we don't need to throw it. Let's just let him hit us so the Ninetales gets less farm. And then we take it out with Superpower and we throw another one. So, assuming that Cherrim can survive a Weather Ball from this range, which I believe it can, we should be able to get to a Fire Weather Ball and take it out. And yeah, Cherrim comes in and just cleanly takes out the Ninetales. So that was a really interesting game to me. So game number 4 that we're featuring here, as you can see, it's an interesting team for sure. Diggersby has some bulk. Porygon 2 is decent, and then we have a Misdreavus of all things. We are going to be matched up with a Wigglytuff, which I'll be honest, I was just thinking, God no. we lose this. We don't have a single resistance, and the first try attack doesn't get us a defense and attack drop. We do get that now, but I believe it's too late, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I mean, even if he hadn't thrown his charge move, he would have taken us out with a charm. So that was actually really lucky for us. And here I'm thinking to myself that I am an idiot, because I just assumed that it had Dark Pulse. Not that would have been much better. So we got some farm on it and took half of our health damage. And here we see Impede, so I just don't charge it. And again, I'm an idiot. I actually thought at this point in the battle that the Wigglytuff was dead. So right now we're just trying to chip as much as we can. We don't really want to take a Surf because we still don't know what's in the back. If Diggersby has a good matchup, it could be nice to save that energy. And at this point I'm thinking Misdreavus is just going to get sacked, and we get an Ominous Wind boost. Take out the Lapras, a Vaporeon comes in, and we get another Ominous Wind off. And because of the boost, it did half to the Vaporeon, which is almost 1500 even. And we get to another one, and Misdreavus just killed a Lapras and a Vaporeon. So, I mean, I've always liked Misdreavus, and I've heard people say that it's complete and utter garbage, but, I mean, it also gets Dark Pulse for more coverage, so, think what you will, but it can, as showcased here, it can do pretty well, although the boost obviously did help it, so. But that was wow game to me. Next game here, we have 2 Pokemons that I have yet to double move, and then we have Bastiodon, which is obviously solid. And here I'm just thinking, please don't give us any fighters, because Lanoon and Bastiodon versus a fighter, oh, that ain't good. But we will see what happens. We have Sunflora. I don't even know what it has. I think, yeah, Razor Leaf. Like, going into the battle, I didn't know. And I can see that Machamp is just over half. I wasn't sure if there was a bit of latency in the beginning. But I'm just thinking nothing else here wants to meet Machamp, so we're just double shielding. I have no idea if this is a good idea yet, but at least we get something in that it can hit for neutral. So I'm thinking either we hit hot or we get a shield. And we did get a shield. And Bastion has a pretty good matchup here. So all in all, we are in a pretty decent position. And this Weepinbell with a shield. If it's running Power Whip, it might have some play, although obviously, as I'm sure everyone watching this knows, Bastiodon is pretty damn sturdy. But yeah, he just has Sludge Bomb, so it's not even denting Bastiodon. And here, I specifically stopped attacking here because I was thinking, we have a Lanoon on the team. I want to feature it too. So I just gave it a little bit of extra farm just to try and get to a Grass Knot. And we did get to a Grass Knot. And I mean, that wasn't a Rock Slide, that was just a Rock Blast, but it did like half. So Lanoon has a very interesting moveset. Also gets Thunder with Shadow Claw. So it has an interesting moveset, but it's pretty damn squishy. But Lanoon came in and took out the Crustle. Now, this is a team that is obviously kind of frail. I believe this is the first match in which I used my Aromatisse ever, if I'm not mistaken. So I have no idea how this is going to perform. I do know, though, that Meowstic is obviously not the best Psychic type, and Substriga is pretty frail. So we got a good lead with Umbreon, but then we get a Wigglytuff. And this is one of those, really, like, if you're a new player, the team this guy's running, it could be a really good team to build, because it's just like a very autopilot team. You come in there with fast attacks that hit hard, and you just click your charge attack when it's there. I mean, obviously, especially with Hypno, there's some more nuance to it, but you can do pretty well just, tapping away. Anyway, we do get the first attack through, and here I'm thinking Aromatisse is going to die to one attack, so it's better as a sack. So I actually want to try and Confusion down the Hypno to build energy. And instead he puts in the Umbreon. So we're in a really tough spot. But we do get the defense drop. And I'm just thinking, like, Meowstic has to kill an Umbreon here. And he has a shield. So it is damn near impossible to pull out a win from here. We do have Shadow Ball if we can get that far, but as you can see, just the Snarls really, like, chip away at Meowstic. And we try to sack here, but he overtaps with one Snarl, and we just lose Aromatisse, and then we die. Had we timed that perfectly, I think we could have taken out the Umbreon just fine. But then the Hypno would probably have killed us. But Meowstic, another one that I hear people say is pretty terrible in almost every situation. But I mean, even here, it did okay, all things considered. But you definitely need double moved if you want to run that kind of spice, let's say. So here we have the very first time I'll ever use my Dragalge after building it, and one of my all-time favorites, Ivysaur. Well, I guess the whole evolutionary line there have always been one of my favorites. So it's like not the most balanced team we have, and we go into a Bastiodon with a Poison Dragon type, so that's not great. So we go Cherrim, and we throw a Weather Ball just to kind of like fake the Solar Beam, although I was one early. At this point, when I click this Solar Beam, is when I realized that this Bastiodon isn't fully powered up. As you will see, this guy has a very, very meta team, but He's probably either playing on an old account or he's a new player who's just, followed up on the meta. Because he seems to make some decent calls most of the time, and he has a really good team. But just the fact that they're not those like 200, 300 higher CP really helps us out. So we do get the power whip through here, and we'll manage to. No, we won't manage to take out the Sableye actually. So that's a yikes. We come in with Sherm, who's almost dead, throwing the Weather Ball. I think it'll die to one Shadow Claw. Yeah. So now Dragalge has to close this game. It's very healthy, but we're not running Outrage on it. We're running Gunk Shot because I was out of charge TMs. But despite being resisted by Ghost, we managed to farm down the Sableye with Acid, and we hit an Aqua Tail on the Medicham. So as you can see, that game would probably have gone different if those had been a bit more powered up. But we went in with a fairly spicy team and took out the meta team regardless. So it's definitely a much better team he was running. But I mean, Spice can still, if you just play it properly, get you places. So for this game, we're running the Aromatisse, which already seemed to do pretty nice, Lucario, which is pretty frail in Great League, and Duocean, which I'm assuming most of you people who may watch this have never seen, and for good reason, because it's a very, very bad Pokemon. It literally beats nothing in the entire meta in the Even Shield, so yeah, it's questionable that I even have one. But nevertheless, I do. Anyway, we don't want to see the Charizard with the Lucario, so we go Aromatisse, and it seemed like a Dragon Claw, if I hadn't miscounted. And this could obviously be a Blast Burn, so we're definitely shielding that. A Fire Blast, Overheat, like everything would be bad. And I suck at counting Dragon Breath, but I'm guessing it's a Dragon Claw, and luckily I am right. So we are in a pretty good position now. We have an Aromatisse with enough health and a lot of energy. But we don't have a double move, so this Gengar is putting up quite a fight. And we can just barely get to another Draining Kiss. I throw Duocean in, and we get some lag. Looked like it was on both ends. So I don't know if that was... I think that was 1 or 2 Shadow Claws, but if you notice, it just got erased almost. Like almost half health in Duocean instantly. We see an Ursaring in the back, and we have Aura Sphere, so we're just gonna hit it. Even at full health, that should have one-shot it, I'm pretty sure. So that was a good game with with a Duocean in it, and props to the opponent, GG. Like, they're obviously using Spice as well, so that's pretty cool. So for the final game of the day, we have a full ground/rock team. Everything here is super weak to grass and super weak to water, and I'm just hoping that we won't run into any. None of these Pokemons really have any relevance in the Great League meta, so definitely a spicy team. And I decided quite quickly in this game that it would probably have to be a Lyron game, so we'll see how that goes. So we meet an Altaria first, which is obviously not great for our Gastrodon because it can't really do much against it. I'm thinking we'll take the first Sky Attack because we will survive, and Gastrodon might have some play in the back. So we obviously go into Lyron just to soak up some of the damage, and he quickly realizes he doesn't want to deal with that. And we see a Grass type, and not only a Grass type, but a pretty decent Grass type that has Frenzy Plant and gets to the moves really fast, so we need to try and body slam spam that down. And we kind of need to shield these, because they're just going to take out Lyron, and they will, like, one Frenzy Plant, even from full health, I think it'll literally one-shot both of my other Pokemons. So we're just praying that Lyron can actually take this out. And then he swaps into a very spicy Pokemon, but still pretty bad for us because it's a water type. It's still super effective against my whole team. and it has access to Crab Hammer, which just is probably also a one-shot and everything. But we go Excadrill, we outpace to the Drill Run, and we get the last shield. But now we're gonna get Crab Hammered, so Excadrill is not gonna survive that. It's not gonna survive anything in the Great League, really. And with Body Slam, hoping that, because it is still pretty frail, that we'll take it out. And we do, but now Altaria comes in and it can just Dragon Breath down. So we unfortunately lost that game, but Lyron really did well considering my entire team was hard countered in both of his back slots. Anyway, that is the last bit of my full random team challenge against the Open Great League, at least as of right now. And I will be releasing a video tomorrow where, hint, we are going on a very long win streak with completely random teams, and we have some really spicy Pokemons in there, some of which I've never used before, and I've never seen anyone use. So if that's of any interest, feel free to go down and hit the subscribe button. Tune in tomorrow, and I hope you have a good day. Adios.